5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, good day, goodbye. Hiya. Wherever you are, one of those will apply to you. Welcome along. It's Monday night after the week before. How are we feeling? Just a little matter of Chelsea coming up at the weekend. Battle of the Bridge. I think it'll be more like the I was about to say Hound of the Baskervilles, not Hound of the Baskervilles. Charge of the Light Brigade. That will be it. I think that's what we're going to witness. How are you? Prashant's in. Hi, Prashant. How are you doing? Look, I also realised I've got the wrong thing up there. There we go. Premier League review. That's what we're doing. We're going to be starting. Obviously, the main part of the show is going to be what you can see there. Yeah, we've got to talk about it. Can't avoid it. Couple of shows, though, just to remind you of that they are up on the Leicester City, Leicester Till I Die YouTube page. The Game of Two Halves. We actually had a chat with Lynn, who is co-chair of the Foxes Foundation, and the Foxes Trust. Honestly, I need some more alcohol. That's what it is. It's all this Tom saying I've got to drink stronger lager the more times we lose. It's his fault. Lynn, co-chair of the Foxes Trust. Do check it out. Some very interesting questions that she asked. I asked and she answered. And if you also like a bit of a rant, join us. I think it was one night, I think it could have been Friday night, to be honest with you, we had a rant. Me and Brad, we got together and we ranted. Oh, did we rant? Yes, indeed. I've got it out of my system. Have I? Fuck. Ron Wood is in as well. I tell you who else is in, and that's my co-host. So what we'll do is I'll play the video, bring him in, and get ready, because it is one half of ZZ Top. Young Tom, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, mate. I love the fact you're apportioning your alcohol consumption to me nowadays and not the football club actually causing the problem behind the scenes. But I'll be your counsellor tonight, my friend.
I'd still be drinking top brass shandy if it wasn't for you.
Is that right? I'm encouraging the cider drinking. You know, I'm actually from Devon, mate, so if you want to hit the bucky like they do up in Glasgow, feel free, my friend. That's the final evolutionary drinking stage of a Leicester City fan in this climate.
It is indeed. It is definitely. Look, thank you for joining us. We've got to go through it as indeed we always have. And Passion says, "Hi Tom, nice to see you." Good Can I say before we get started, it is actually at the moment Nottingham Forest 1, Ipswich Town 1. So that's the last FA Cup match being played. I kind of want Ipswich to go through because it keeps them occupied a little bit, doesn't it? And look what happened at Wolves at the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Things keep on motoring, eh?
Yeah, Kuna, what a shame about that, eh? But look, I'm going to say as well, get yourself over to the BBC Leicester City page, which I can tell you is the easiest way to find it. Is just to type in bbc.co.uk. The full title is /sport /football /teams /Leicester City. But just search bbc.co.uk/Leicester City. It's gone up a day early. Fans' voice. Why can the club not see what isn't working? I didn't think they'd use my title, which was, as you can see there, different game, same shit. But we'll come back to that later because honestly, it just is. I mean, I started it off. Eat, sleep, watch Leicester City, write how awful they are, repeat.
Yeah.
Just read my last blog because nothing changes. And that's why I've literally got nothing left to say.
No, it's crazy, Chris, isn't it? Because every week it seems to be... The only thing I will say is the fans are all coming together a bit more now because every week the club gets it more wrong. The more we can see where they're getting it wrong and the more on the same page we get about the situation. But like you say, no changes since that West Ham game. The only noise we've had coming out of the football club is about a man and his dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Bonkers.
Probably more exciting, and the dog can probably dribble better than half the bloody team anyway.
The amount of comments about can he play at right back is unbelievable, mate.
Sure. Was it Vestergaard's dog?
It was. There was a big kerfuffle, mate, which sums up where the club is right now. Apparently, he needed a dog sitter on one day, and he couldn't get one. So he asked the club, could he bring him to training? Apparently, that message got lost in communication. He brought the dog along, and everyone's now had a bit of a paddy about it, saying he's above his station and all the rest of it. But once again, it just shows you what a show of a club we run. Because if he was told it was okay, why has this message got misconstrued, and why is all this drama about a man with his dog? It's ridiculous.
I do have a question about it, though. Was it a Great Dane?
Oh, mate, everyone's joked that. Apparently, it's a big dog. Apparently, it's very similar. So I think there is a stereotype there to be had.
Oh, I thought you were going to go for that one. I thought you'd get in there before me.
No, let you have your moment, mate.
I love I put there, West Ham 2, Shite City 0. I'm sorry to keep having a dig at my own team, but I can't say anything positive. People say to me, talk about something positive, and I can't. But I am going to talk about something beautiful before we get going. Don't like to talk about myself, but, you know, it has to be done sometimes. But a lot of people were asking me last week, they said, you and Tom, you went off on one about Anthea Turner.
Yes.
And obviously her big volcanoes, if you like,
her
on Tracy
Island.
Her
qualities as a woman.
Yes, yeah. And they were asking, who is she? Well, look, there she is, the lady herself. And how can you not, a man, boy of any age, not get excited by that?
I was going to say, Chris, there's two things in that picture to excite you as a man. It's firstly the lady in question. It's also the fantastic Thunderbirds Tracy Island she's built there. Look at that thing. Gorgeous.
You could never replicate it as good as that, could you?
No, definitely. I definitely standing behind mine didn't look half as good. I'll give it that. And mine was probably falling to pieces.
Yes. And I've got to say, I don't mean to be rude, but you're nowhere near as pretty as she is. Thing is, she's no different today. She's just as beautiful.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. Radiant, isn't it? I mean, I hope I'm that lucky when I get old. If I can look this good, but bear in mind what I look like when I was 10 and I'm now like late 30s. It's not looking good for me, is it?
No. Well, look at me. It's possible. I'm 63 and look how handsome I still am.
Yeah, you're doing well, mate. You're on that Oscar camp, aren't you? Are you doing what the celebs are doing now? I thought you were at the Oscars party yesterday, getting some of the jabs in for all that.
Did you not see me?
I did, mate. I thought I did. I could see you around the party with a cocktail there, you know. I know you're very welcome in Hollywood circles.
I'm sorry, I should not have had my cocktail out. But you know what these parties are like once they get going. I was hoping to bump into
Let's get back on track, for goodness.
Well, I was going to say I was hoping to see Harvey Weinstein, but he wasn't there, so I put it away. Moving on.
This is my worry. Go on, run away, Chris.
Look, it's past the watershed. It's gone 9 o'clock. Look, you've got to have a laugh about these things. I'm sorry.
You do.
It's if you don't laugh, what's the world coming to? But I just don't want to move on from Anthea Turner, if I'm honest with you.
No, Leicester City's a lot more uglier, isn't it, right now, and generally uglier, mate.
It is. Look, we're going to go with the news. What is the latest news about Leicester? Well, of course, the big news is we're still shite.
Yeah, nothing's changed.
Changes.
No, nothing's changed from last week in regard to that, Chris. 100%. No, in some ways, it's somehow managed to get worse, despite the fact we halved the deficit this week. But we lost 2-0 this week. It was 4-0 the week before.
Up, mate. Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit. Can you hear me? Hello?
Sorry, we're back.
We are for the time being, yes. I think we are doing the Peter Crouch impersonation.
Sorry about that, mate. Just crack forward, mate. I think it's catching up now. We had a moment there.
Okay. Premier League, Championship clubs getting promoted to the Premier League. Southampton could break unwanted record as worst team in Premier League history. Will they get another 3 points, which is what they would need to beat Derby's record? All 3 promoted teams could suffer relegation in back-to-back seasons for the first time ever. Promoted clubs could collect an all-time low 61 combined points, and transfer spending has risen, well, but not by Leicester, to survive. Is that gap getting bigger?
Yeah, 100%, Chris. Yeah, and I think this is a byproduct of what happened when the Super League things were starting to come out, because all that's happened is the Premier League has made a financial move to make sure these clubs stay. The problem is that, for my opinion, has created this disparity, because the rules we have in place now mean they can spend more money than any other club, because they've got the revenue coming in, because they've got all the revenue from all over the world. They're massively worldwide corporations, clubs like Manchester United now and Tottenham and Arsenal. And I think because of that, mate, unfortunately, it's only going to continue to trend in the same direction until we change the way football's financed.
I mean, I can't argue with that. I want to sort of go on to the next slide. Leicester suffered their 10th defeat in 11 games, losing 2-0 at West Ham on Thursday with a whimper. Not my words this time. The Saints have lost 9 of their previous 10 games, while Ipswich have lost 6 of their previous 7. We did have a quick chat before we came live, and I said to you that, yes, these teams that are getting promoted, is that gap getting bigger? But Leicester and, in fact, Southampton were clubs that only 2 years ago had been up. I mean, we were. I heard somebody say the other day on one blog, 4 seasons in the Premier League, you're an established Premier League team. We've been there 10 seasons. So we're not a club that's coming up that's never been here before.
No.
I
know.
I'm trying to look for excuses, but there are none. We are just absolutely shite.
Yeah, well, the problem is, mate, is like, in some ways, like I said, the Enzo season, while being amazing for us to get back up at the first attempt, more Sally James. I saw Sally James after you mentioned it, mate, and I saw it today by mistake because I forgot to look, but she came up on a random thing. So that was really
yes, of course you did.
Oh, I did, mate, I did. But anyway, you can believe what you want on that one, but yeah, we go. But no, the gap, it has got a lot bigger. It is so true, mate. But then you say, 2 years ago, we were an established Premier League team. We had one bad season where our trousers were caught, and then eventually we're in this mess now. And you can argue with other clubs like Everton. They've been a bit more fortunate, and they've not, got unlucky like we have to go down in that one go where you do get it wrong. There's been a lot worse clubs than us. But yeah, mate, the gap is getting bigger, and I think we're a couple of years of age, especially people like Vestergaard. You get caught short, don't you? And we've not really replaced or brought in quality for 2 years now, mate, to be honest.
No. Do we change things? Do we change the manager again? I know people are going to be saying, we're going to be turning into Watford. I think it was 2007, 2008, and I was on Leicester Fan TV in the chat earlier, and I was having a chat with Phil, as well, there were a lot of people, and somebody said it was the 2007-8 season. We actually did have 3 managers, and I've forgotten who it was, to be honest with you. It was Martin Allen, I think, started. Ian Holloway finished, and I can't remember who was in between.
I'm trying to remember if I get my years mixed up here. Yeah, it would have been. Was it Worthington? Nigel Worthington?
No,
I'm getting my years confused because Nigel Worthington came in as interim.
I can't even think that I thought these were like the 1990s, but I'm just having a look now. So it started with it was just before that, and Nigel Worthington was before that. So May to August was Martin Allen. September to October was Gary Megson.
It was Megson, yeah.
Yeah, and
I can tell you a story
November
about that.
to May was Ian Holloway. So we've done it before, and everybody said, well, we can't afford to pay off these managers. Well, as I've said before, give them a 1-year rolling contract rather than a bloody 3-year contract every time. So you earn your second year or whatever. And we've got 10 million for Tom Cannon. Now, if that goes to PSR, fuck PSR. Everton managed to stay up with a deduction. Nottingham Forest managed to stay up with a deduction. Do we just stack Rude and go and get Sean Dyche?
Well, I mean, the answer is, mate, like, if you're surely run well as a football club of FFP, we could surely budget this into next year's budget if we feel that desperate of a situation now. There'll be a way you could work yourself around it. You wouldn't have to pay him all the money now. I'm pretty sure you could probably pay him in, installments over the next couple of seasons even. He's earning a paycheck every so often then, isn't he? So there are ways around you can do it. I think realistically, there's not many fans out there now who want to see Rude in charge next season, but I think we're all pretty much certain in our minds we're going down this season. So really for me, it's all about next season now. I'm not too worried about them making a rush unless they really think, Chris, honestly, as a football club, which I hope they would as owners, we might be able to stay up this year if we do something quite dramatic. So I think that shows you where I feel in comparison where the club is being run. The fact my head's now like, what's the point in doing it? Because I don't think, they're thinking like it either, which is a shame. Go back to the Gary Megson one. I've got a bit of a story for you here. Sorry to change subject, but I was working as a steward at a game for Histon in Cambridgeshire.
That sounded like a Human League song starting there. No. I was working as assistant.
Oh, mate. It's a bit of that sort of story. But okay, but where did Gary Megson leave Leicester to go and join? Do you remember?
Bolton.
He got poached. Bolton. I met at that game the head scout of Bolton Wanderers at that time because he was there scouting some games and I was doing some security work and I was chatting to him and we were saying how bad Megson was doing at Leicester. And I think he intentionally poached Gary Megson to save Leicester. Because he was part of the recruitment and getting Megson across to Bolton Wanderers, mate. What a small world. But anyway, it's a random story about a time in the past that you have to mention. But no, to go back to my point, mate, I think my main problem is the club doesn't seem to be that focused on making a change now. So we might as well ride it out and do it at the end of the season for the financial side of it. But I would like to see us at least go. It's easier to stay in the league now, even how hard it is, and to get back up, isn't it? Really,
I don't think we'll get back up in 10 seasons because I think we'll go down. We'll have management, management plans, transfer embargoes, point deductions. We ain't coming straight back up again, so we have to not go down with a whimper. And everybody said about Sean Dyche, etc. Is he the person to keep us up? He wasn't very good. Look, Everton sacked him. He kept Everton up with a points deduction.
He did. This is true. I mean, I wouldn't personally go for Dyche. If I had a choice right now,
if you say to somebody, right, okay, you're coming to us, you want a 3-year contract. Look, we can't give you a 3-year contract because if we stay up, we don't think you're the man to take us forward. But I'm going to give you £1 million for the next 11 games. And if you keep us up, I'll give you another $500,000. I'm sorry, for 3 months, I'd bloody do it.
That's true. I think the sort of manager we're going to attract if we want to do that, which I'm not against, would be Sam Allardyce. Sam Allardyce would be well.
I think he's past it though, isn't it? At least Sean Dyche has only just got out of football.
Well, yeah, this is true. This is true, Chris. I mean, I think the problem is that I don't think there's actually an appointment out there which screams out to the fans right now, someone who's free that's going to make a marked difference with this group. I think you're right with Dyche. In some ways, it's looking at the defensive side of it, and we might be able to build from that again. But I don't think the football will be inspiring enough to keep the fan base on side long enough, mate, because we saw it with Cooper. If Cooper would probably still be in a job if we'd believed in him. And I don't think people would believe in Dyche after a while, to be completely frank.
Well, there's only 11 games. It doesn't matter how
Yeah.
long you believe in him. And I've got to say as well, my other option is I'd go on my hands and knees and get Cooper back because, yes, I accept that I wanted Cooper to go, but it's all about finishing 17th. And could he... We did better under him than we're doing under Rude.
Yeah, I think we all agree we've done better. I still think, irrelevant of if Cooper was in charge, and I've said this, I think the only difference would probably be 3 points from now, or maybe 6. I mean, maybe that's a lot in comparison where we are. Yeah, it'll keep us where Wolves are. But Chris, my answer is, if we're going to do this, I mean, the problem with the club right now isn't really, for me, even just assigned to formations. It's assigned to culture. So if we want to make a sharp change now, I think we do what Everton did, and we go for nostalgia and we go for Pearson, because Pearson is, by all accounts, doing a bit better now. We've got Andy King there, who's been a part of a Nigel Pearson coaching group before, and we know he doesn't like bad cultures. And that is immediately where we could start and fix things. And I know that's going to antagonize some people, but I just think now, when we're in this situation, we need a man like that. And I think there's very few of them.
I would not argue with Nigel Pearson coming back. My worry with Nigel Pearson coming back is he's no longer got Craig Shakespeare, rest in peace.
True, God rest him.
You know, Clough without Taylor.
True.
That sort of, thing. Once, they work together. So I'm not sure. Well, it's like O'Neill without Robinson. Again, rest in peace. Once John Robinson retired before he passed away, he wasn't that good, Martin O'Neill. So it's swings and roundabouts, I guess, isn't it? But look, to me, I'm sorry. I mean, Tony says keeping us up deserves 5 million. I just think if we go down, I'm 63. I honestly don't know if I'll see my club back in the top flight in my lifetime.
No, I think the problem is as well, mate, is that you've got to have a good plan in place in order to at least stabilise yourself in the Championship. And Luton should be a warning shot to us this year, because Luton are on the verge of back-to-back relegations from the Premier League to League One. And we're not too big and we're not too ugly to not fall into that trap. It's happened to other clubs.
100%.
So we've got to be careful. Correct.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't got a slide for this, but Southampton, according to Opta, Southampton are 100% relegated. We are 97.8% relegated.
Yeah.
Ipswich are something around the 95s, 96, and Wolves are 5.6. Not 56, 5.6.
Yeah.
That's the gap that there is there. And I just think we need this manager just doesn't fill me. It's like I said in my thing on the BBC, it's the same shite week in, week out. He's not trying anything. If he tried something different and it didn't work out, I'd give him marks for actually trying something, but he's just not trying it.
No, this is true. I tell you what's interesting, Chris, is that I've noticed a correlation with our football club now. If you notice, when we have a strong manager in charge, I'm not talking a head coach, a manager. So I'm talking Nigel Pearson, I'm talking Brendan Rodgers at the start of his tenure. Things generally go very well. As soon as we have a manager who is not that sort of way inclined, might be given a head coach title, for example, like a Paulo Sousa, there seems to be a situation where there's a lack of leadership. And I'm looking at Rude now, and he seems out of his depth, as Kate so very well put when we did the watch along. And I think if he was a man manager in the same way of that strength, I don't think we'd be seeing these problems, because I believe Brendan at the start of his tenure, and Pearson, especially during his, covered up for the problems at the board the whole time. I think we're being shown that now regularly, unfortunately, Chris.
Forest and Ipswich are in extra time, but yeah, no, you're quite right there. I'm gonna stick my neck out. Everybody knows what I think about Vardy. coming up to his sell-by date, but 100% past his best before. And I'm not whether you argue that he's, and we've got some figures coming up later, he's not getting the ball, etc., etc. He's still not the player he was, and we're pinning all our hopes on a 38-year-old. Once he retires, I think that's the last of the Champions winning side at the club.
Cool.
Will that make things easier, do you think?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe there is a little bit of that nostalgia we're holding on to, Chris, a little bit. I find the Vardy thing a bit upsetting, really, this week. I've had a good time to think about it because I don't think there's anyone there who can accuse him of a lack of effort. And I'd also suggest to any managers that have managed him recently, the one thing I've noticed about Jamie Vardy, beyond the fact he's getting old and beyond the fact he's losing that pace a little bit, is I think he's technically a better footballer now than he was 4 years ago. I think he's a lot better with the ball at his feet. And it goes back to that thing for me of if we had gone 2 up top, if he'd been like the guy alongside Daka and Daka had been doing the running, I still think we'd be in a position now to create chances with him and him allowing Daka to create chances. But we just not set ourselves up, Chris, with what we got at our disposal in this team to have a good go at it. And now their heads are down and now we're questioning all of it like this, you see.
I would disagree with that. I don't think he is a better footballer.
I think technically, not quickly, but technically of his feet, I think. But then, yeah, okay.
But then, no. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't sort of see that. But then again, in his defence, he's not getting the ball played through to him and what have you. Dino's in, yo. He says Dino is very up and down. Yo, up and down. Come on.
I got you, mate. I got you. I was laughing. You couldn't hear on microphone.
You were just being polite. That was a polite laugh, wasn't it?
It was.
Fazant said, would you be surprised if Ruud went to another club and be successful? No, I wouldn't. Depends where that club is. I think if he went back to Holland or went to possibly Portugal, I think he would be absolutely fine. Look at Ian Holloway. We couldn't wait to get rid of him when he took us down. Nobody could have get that club up. We were like when we got ready, we were a disaster waiting to happen. You could see it season after season. Holloway, all right, he had his faults, round pegs, square holes, and all that again. But we sacked him. He went on to Blackpool and got them from Blackpool in the Premier League.
And what's insane about that is Blackpool were probably a more toxic club than we were than when he was in charge of us.
Yes.
And you think he managed to turn them around when they had an owner who really told him, I don't really want to put any money into this. And he dragged them to the Premier League, kicking and screaming, mate.
Yes.
Remarkable work.
That was what was he called? The owner,
Oyston, Carl Oyston.
Oyston, yeah, and it was Owen Oyston, his dad, who owned Oyston Estate Agents that bought it. And I'm going to sidetrack now with a story about Mr. Owen Oyston because I think he ended up in jail and allegedly. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he did. He had a reputation as a bit of a I'll say Arthur Scargill, Arthur Daly sort of character. But back in the day when I worked and lived in Blackpool, I was invited along to a nightclub because I'd done a thing with Club, I think I've said before, Club 1830 holidays, a lot with these nightclubs. And this nightclub was hosting the Miss Blackpool final.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is how far it's going back and what have you. And there was 3 judges. There was a lovely lady, no idea who she was. Now I can't remember. There was me, and there was Owen Oyston. Now I have to say, we were treated like gods. We got there. We had our own private area. The drinks were all free. There was plenty of champagne flowing, and there we were marking away. You know, we did the swimwear section, we did the evening dress section, the talking, and we were different times. All right, bear with me.
I can't believe they invited you to host it, mate. It's like Father Jack and Father Ted, isn't it?
No, not host it. No, I wasn't hosting it. I was one of the judges, one of the 3 judges.
That's what I meant. You're one of the judges. They went, of all the people to judge women in Blackpool, we want Chris. This is who we want.
Excuse me, what are you trying to say? So
it's brilliant. Carry on.
And then we had a free meal, which was sort of chicken in this very strong wine. So, long story short, I was pissed, right? And nobody told me that at the end of the evening, that I would have to go up and put a sash over the second place.
Wow.
The lady did the third, I did the second. Owen Oyston, who was the bigger name, did the winner. I was quite impressed with myself that I actually managed to walk up to the stage without falling over. And then I proceeded to try and put this sash on upside down. The woman was not impressed. Yes, that's my my Owen Oyston story.
We just saved these for the late night show, Chris. I'm sure I got some in places like Hooters in Toronto we can have a laugh at.
Oh, well, it was a good night, though. It was a good night.
Sounds it? Yeah, it sounds fantastic.
And he was actually reasonably friendly. I'm not going to lie, but there you go. Lol. It was definitely a lol. Can I just say, I apologise even now to that lady. Very nice lady she was. She came second, didn't she? But I was determined to put this.
Oh,
I thought the rosette thing went at the top there, not at the bottom, and joined anyway. All worked out in the end. Oh dear. So West Ham will probably never have an easy game. We'll get back to football, shall we? West Ham will probably never have an easier game than this. West Ham fans are saying that, and I got to say, I agree.
Yeah, mate, it was kind of worse than the Brentford game, wasn't it? I don't know what it was. It was almost like after the Brentford game, at least go out and put in double the effort, guys, even if we lose 4-0 again. But no, it felt worse to me, mate. It somehow felt worse. It just felt like the Brentford game killed them off, and this game they went, well, we're not going to bother because we know the outcome anyway, don't we? And ironically, we only conceded half as many goals by doing that. So, yeah, bizarre one, mate. And I think West Ham,
West Ham never had to get out of first gear, did they? It was to be honest with you, to West Ham, and I've got to say, Graham Potter must have been stood at the sideline thinking, "Thank fuck I didn't choose Leicester City."
Dude, absolutely.
But it was a training match for them.
Yeah, it's no good indication for them going forward, is it? Because you can't take a lot away from this sort of game, I think. Because if I was Graham Potter, I wouldn't be there. Yeah, well, so it's all we can take from it, apart from lots of alcohol. But if I was Graham Potter, I'd look at that and go, I can't really, overly reward them because I think this, we didn't do anything to stop them winning the game. They're going to have so much more harder games.
I have got the wrong score up there as well.
No, it's 2-0. It was 2-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, but to West Ham, not to Leicester.
Oh, goodness me, you're right. Even I didn't notice that, mate.
Quickly moving on.
It was 4-0 before the show, guys. I made him change it.
He made me change it, and I did it in a rush, and it still wasn't bad. It's the only way we'll get a win is by me
hiring a producer if anyone's interested.
At the end of the show, I celebrated. I went for a 2-0 West Ham win in the prediction league. RMS Leicester City. If those of you that remember the Titanic, we're heading for the iceberg with an owner who's lost the plot, a captain who doesn't know how to steer, and a lookout with no binoculars. That's about us, isn't it?
Well, it is, mate. Yeah, I mean, this is why I feel like every week's the broken record of perpetual madness of being a Leicester City fan right now, because nothing changes, mate, does it? I mean, we could have put this image up 4 weeks ago on this show and we'd be like, well, maybe we'll get somewhere 4 weeks later, but it's still exactly the same, mate. We're just staring at icebergs, looking to crash into it, and we might as well put this picture up until the inevitable relegation happens. And the sad thing is, mate, is it's still only written in pencil. I know it's 95% we're going down, but it's not written in permanent marker yet. There is still time, if the club wants to get their finger out of their arse and make a strong statement here, to maybe at least go down with a little bit of pride. We're going down now with no pride.
I cannot say one player that has pulled on a blue shirt of Leicester this season that has shown any pride, apart from possibly El Canouse.
Yeah, I'd still say Vardy, mate, because the look on his face when he's coming off, I've never seen him look so devastated. He looks like he's feeling it. I get he's not been at his best, but like you say, what's he been set up as? So, but I'd agree with you. There's only really 2 of them, and then you think the rest of them, like I put in a Facebook post the other week, I think they're planning to flood the ship and then jump overboard and vanish. Yeah, really, I think that's the way a lot of them are playing it now, mate, which is very sad.
Ronald says, why no subs at half time? Because we've got a manager who's tactically inept. That's why. Yeah, Prashant asks, do we have a better chance of coming back up in 26, 27? We've got no chance of coming back up. Absolutely no chance. We are going to be hit, or they're going to try and hit us with a points deduction again. We're going to have a management plan. It's like I said, and I get this, is the child catcher out of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. He's going to be after us with that net and doing what he can. Facundo, to be honest with you, under Cooper, he was okay. But he hasn't hardly played, has he? Again, he's not a starter under Van Nistelrooy. Probably too good for Van Nistelrooy. I think a lot of our players are just thick mentally to show. Say what you mean, Tony. Don't you sit on the fence there.
You can cover that up with tactics. You can cover that up with tactics by making it easy for them. I said Soumare's not a thinker. Is he getting running, Chris? But we stopped running now. Anyway, sorry, mate, to interrupt.
No. Well, never worry. You interrupt away. Ruud van Nistelrooy has knocked his confidence. I think he's knocked everybody's confidence. I mean, whether it made it worse, because obviously when you're watching the match, your co-commentator was Robbie Savage. Love him or hate him, he says it from the heart. I mean, he made the point that, well, look, Leicester fans don't necessarily like me because of the way I left the club. But he says what he thinks. And when we were in the Champions League and he was co-hosting all our Champions League games, he was very supportive of us. And we had Neil Lennon, obviously, talking on the TNT pre-post and at half-time. And they said, I mean, the things they were saying, LCFC placid, no fight at all. Neil Lennon, Leicester are offering nothing. Savage 3 times said Ruud van Nistelrooy needs to get 2 up front. Need to make 5 changes at half time. As can't be any worse. Where's the fight? Our fans were cheering a quarter. Robbie Savage, Leicester City midfield, no sprinting back for that. When they could have scored that third, their players were running past our defenders to support their strikers. And our defenders weren't even running back. Mavididi has to start the next game. I mean, these are sort of ex-Leicester people saying this, and I'm not having any of this like, they don't like us because they don't play for us anymore. Fucking stupid. No, they are being honest. They are saying it from the heart.
100% correct.
We can't. We say this, and can it get any worse than what we saw last week?
Well, unfortunately, mate, the signs are it will be. And I think this is why we're all getting twitchy about Ruud, because like Kate put on the other show the other day, there's none of us that really want to be sat here talking about sacking yet again another manager, as we've sacked so many of them in the past few years. And but the reality is, mate, when it's trending downwards, it's not even as if it's staying the same at how bad it is. It is somehow getting progressively worse, and there seems to be an energy about it. And there comes a point where you just gotta just make a change. And I think it's one of those, mate, if we don't think about it now and get the ball moving for the next few weeks to make a change, I think it will be forced to us anyway with just how things are going, because I think it will get that bad, then, it will get that toxic. It will have to happen. So I think it's a case of we either get a grip of it now, mate, and have a chance at it, or we don't get a grip of it at all and we go down completely ruined. It's that simple.
Once said, armchair jockey here, you can't motivate a millionaire. So true. And the thing with managers is now managers know Ruud's not going to walk. No. He's going to wait. If we get relegated, he'll be maybe asking for the sack. I don't know. But they're not going to walk because they don't get any money if they walk.
Well, no, and also for Ruud, I don't think it's a wise move for him to walk this time, Chris, because I think if he walks this time, he probably disqualifies himself from getting an interview for any other manager's job. He'll get a coaching job, sure, yeah, maybe an assistant manager's role, but if he wants to be a football manager, I don't think you can walk from this one after doing it once before. It's just such a bad look to do it twice out of 2, isn't it? So, yeah, and the problem is, mate, is that I think now we're not even just, this is the first week, it's probably about the 4th week now we've been going through this, maybe longer. And it's just the way he's coming across now, like I say, a bit disingenuous with it. It very much comes across to me. He's going through the motions. There's certain players not happy with that. It's unbalanced. It's a right mess. And it needs someone strong to take the reins. And he's just proven, Chris, he is not the man to do it.
No, I mean, I mean, somebody will offer him a job if we sack him, but there's going to be a lot of people looking at that and going, no. No. I mean, like
football's what you know, who you know as well, Chris, isn't it? Not what
yes,
you know, and he knows a lot of people. He'd probably get a job somewhere.
probably would, but I don't have any worry about him being sacked. I know, like, we've got the stigma of being 3 managers in a year. We've already done that, like we said earlier. Or we've got the stigma of being Watford. So what? If he's shit, sack him.
My worry is, Chris. Yeah, my worry is. Sorry, you carry on, mate. You finish your point first.
No, all I'm going to say was, look, if we don't sack him now, the chances are we could well sack him at the end of the season when we're down. We're not going to get any more points, I don't think, under him, or certainly not enough to stay up. Getting somebody else in might just give us that fighting chance. Like I say, whether that's Nigel Pearson coming back, Steve Cooper coming back for the last 10 games, and because at least we were getting draws under him. We can't just let this go on, can we?
Well, no, that's it, mate. Exactly, and I think that's the point about it all. It's like we can't let this continue. If we do, we are mad. But also, the other caveat of this is, Chris, there's no point in doing what we did last time, which we very much sacked Cooper and we didn't have a plan in place. Otherwise, we wouldn't have hired the flavour of the month, with all due respect, which is what we did. So if we are going to do it, I would say let's hold fire now for this week, but let's make sure this week we're finding out who that's going to be and why, and have a process and have a philosophy for why we're bringing in the next manager. Because if we're just going to bring in another, person to throw at a wall to see if it sticks, eventually we'll go through every manager type.
I think there was some plan, though, with Ruud van Nistelrooy.
I don't in hindsight, mate. No. But then I wonder about Enzo, and I go back to the Enzo one because I think when you look at your strongest moments, you can also see some weaknesses. And I think Enzo was a similar appointment to Ruud, ironically, a bit charismatic, an assistant manager. The difference is Enzo had a very, very radical forward-thinking system, which covered up a lot of our deficits because we were playing attacking. Vestergaard looked great last year, didn't he? Didn't have to defend, mate. As soon as he has to defend under a system under Ruud, it's not working. So that's my problem with it. I think it was a bit like that.
I don't, you see, because I think there's no way that you could, within 6 days of him winning the Champions League, of talking to him, discussing, and coming to Leicester. I think there was conversations before with Ruud van Nistelrooy. There's no way that we could have got him in that time, because he needed convincing. He wanted to ring Enzo and ask what the club was like, blah, blah, blah. So I think that we have the international break, and I think that's when they were talking to Ruud. And then we have the one game, and then we sacked Cooper. And I think it was a case of, right, are you going to come in if we sack Cooper? We've spoken to you for 2 weeks. And I think, not saying it was the right plan, but I think there was a plan there. And I think you've got to have a look at who we can get in. And even if we're thinking about getting somebody in that's going to try and keep us up next season if we go down. But look, any club's got to worth its salt. It's got to be looking, always having a plan B ready to in case they sack the manager. But I just think, like you say, look, David Moyes took on the West Ham job twice till the end of the season.
True.
So managers will do that.
They will, depending on the deal. That's right, Chris. I think you raised a very interesting point there in regard to planning as well, because I've always, I'll tell you, let's look at Brighton, because actually Brighton really have become the new Leicester in some ways, haven't they? They haven't quite got to the exact heights of it, but they're run very well. And there's something about Brighton, isn't there? Because De Zerbi was looking on the rocks last year, and they made a decision to replace him, which some people might have said was a bit controversial because they were in the top 10. But the thing is, they're run by an ex-professional poker player. He's thinking 10 years ahead. Tony Bloom is one of the best poker players this country's ever seen. He's also a very good businessman. We haven't got an owner like that. That's the difference, Chris. Unfortunately, Tony Bloom will never drop Brighton in it because he's already thought 10 steps ahead. We can't think one step ahead right now. I really want us, whatever we do next, to be more in line with 10-step thinking than one-step thinking, because I think it's one-step thinking that's got up into the mess now.
Totally. I mean, when you look at that, both had 2 shots on target. They had 8, we had 10. They blocked 3, we blocked 5. Possession 58-42. Corner, there's not that huge difference, but they're all round. state of play. They were able to pass to each other. And was
Yes.
it indeed you passed the ball and it just went straight out of play?
Yep. Terrible, mate, isn't it? I mean, the stats are kind of misleading. I mean, this is one of those where you'd actually go XG would be the most important stat here, wouldn't it? Because it shows we've had more shots and more block shots. But our memory from that game, I'd say I can't remember anything we did. I can remember West Ham having a lot more of it, which shows you this is probably one of those things that Rude can hold up to top and say, well, look, we're creating chances, but actually it's all a load of guff, mate. It means nothing.
This is something we looked at before we came live, but I want to sort of break it down into defense and attack. And this is the defense here. Oh, that's the attack. This is the defense. I went early there. And you look at our defenders, and I'm not just looking at the defenders. I'm looking at the defensive midfielders as well. James Justin, 3 tackles, 1 interception. Wout Faes, 1 tackle, 1 interception. Vestergaard, 2 tackles, no interceptions. Christensen, fair dues to him. You said before he's probably overperforming. 9 tackles, 2 interceptions. This is just obviously in this game. Then you've got our defensive midfield who should be sat in front of the defence helping them out. Sumare, not 1 tackle. Not 1 tackle and 1 interception. At least Ndidi had 3 tackles and 2 interceptions. Take out Christensen and Ndidi out of that lot, and you have got a pile of shit.
Well, it's interesting, mate, because my memory of the West Ham game, I would say out of those players you got listed there, the 2 that were running the most were VK and Ndidi. And that kind of sums up why we're seeing these figures. But it's more concerning we're not seeing high figures from the rest of them, isn't it? Because, like you say, from Sumare, I mean, I get Sumare we're asking to advance the ball, but he's got to do his part in defending, mate. And there's been so many goals. He's been stood there outside the box where he could have got a foot across and stopped people, and he hasn't done it. He hasn't had an interest. And then you go back to Woot again, mate. Look at that. He's a centre-back. 1 tackle, 1 interception. And Vestergaard has 2 tackles and an own goal. I mean, damning stats, Chris. Damning stats.
Totally. And I'm sorry, but I get... I was talking to Lynn from Fox's Trust, and I said, I'm no different to all the other fans that are out there. Just if, we all have to hate on a player every now and again. It was Chilwell, it was Thomas, it was Perez. For me at the moment, I'm no different. For me, it's Wout Faes. Like I have often said, he is taking up somebody else's oxygen. And, I just don't know what he is doing. He stands there and he doesn't go for a ball because it's come off somebody. He's like, oh, all right, Hermansson's got hand to it and pushed it out. I'm not going to try and get that ball in before the West Ham player does it all.
Yeah.
What was that just gone? Is that the ball? I mean, just...
Mate, that's bonkers. Is that bad, Chris? I'm literally thinking I want to see Cody and a Coley for Chelsea. I don't want to see either of them. I'm just thinking, why not?
I don't know. I mean, a Coley... You see, with a Coley, we have to give him a chance. It's his first season away from home. His first season in. Look, Sumare, when he came in, was very good, but he had a season as an understudy to Harry Maguire, so he'd got bedded in. Fafana, he took to it like a duck to water, but not every player does, So I kind of want to give a Coley time. But should we go to the other end of the field?
Yeah, let's have a look at this.
Attack. So we've got shots on target, passes, and touches. Vardy, no shots on target, and 1 pass. Dakova Reed, again, I mean, is he Wout Faes' long lost brother from another mother, or what?
Bonkers.
El Canoes, 1 shot, 2 passes, but he had 72 touches. And I will let you make the point that you made earlier. Buenete, all right, he came on, but 0-0 and 45. But you wanted to make a point about El Canoes and his 72 touches, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, if he's having 72 touches, for me, it shows that, there's something wrong there, because where's his outlet? If he's getting 72 touches and only 2 passes off that and 1 shot, where's his support around him? We said this, we were very impotent against West Ham. If I'm seeing a player there in the attacking midfield with 72 touches and no completed passes barely and no shots, I'm going, what's he doing? What is the point in this? And I mate, this to me, it goes back to the manager again, because we are useless. There's no word about it. We are a useless football team. We haven't got a lot of quality. But my word, the manager takes accountability for stuff like this, doesn't he? I mean, Jamie Vardy, 1 pass and 20 touches. I don't get it.
Yep.
I don't get this
Yeah.
at all, mate. And the they could overread one to me is bizarre, because he's like Ayew, mate. 2 weeks ago, I was defending Ayew, saying he brought something that the others didn't, and I was saying the same for Dakota Reed. And once again, 2 weeks down the line, I'm going, I don't want him in the team again either.
No, couldn't you imagine? I mean, Dakota Reed has got a use, Ayew has got a use, but neither of them are starters. Both of them come on when you want to sort of get back into the game. You want somebody that's with Ayew go down, going to get you a free kick, break the game up, maybe get you a last minute goal. That's their role, not fucking starting. Dakota Reed is as much use as a fart in a spacesuit. He really, really is.
This is why we should go 5 at the back, Chris, because I'm sorry, apart from Fatawa, who obviously is out injured, there's no one on the wings who's really going to do enough to make a difference. I mean, we're better off going with wing backs, with an attacking midfielder in Bilal and 2 strikers. We might as well ditch the wingers. We might as well. They're useless.
Yeah, no. Let's go for that. I mean, all right, let's talk through this then. Let's have a look at this. So I agree. Look, Vardy on his own, Daka on his own, it ain't working. And I said this to Phil earlier on Leicester Fan TV, and he was pretty much in agreement with me. Why the fuck are we not seeing Edouard?
Yeah, I don't understand this, mate, because I think now he's played himself into it by just being on the training pitch and everyone else has had a go. So why isn't he having a go? It's so funny, this, to me, because it kind of feels like they're trying to make an example out of him for a lack of work rate. But football's a weird thing, mate. We've seen players like this. Tony Pulis used to go mad over Ken Wynne-Jones for being like this, but he'd put him off the bench and he'd go score a hat-trick. You know what I mean? And right now, we can't be getting lost in these silly things. We need goals. I think he should be featuring, mate, because there must be some reason he's got 30 goals for Celtic. I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, there's something
and
there.
Whatever he's done, like Soyuncu under Rodgers.
Yeah.
You know, when you play Manchester United in the Cup with no Vardy on the bench, just Daka up front, Daka gets injured, and you have not got a striker. We're paying this guy £90,000 a week, allegedly. Why the fuck is he not on that bench to come on? Or he can just make a nuisance of himself. You know what I mean?
And also, Chris, more importantly, Chris, why were we signing him in the first place if we were... Because you remember we used to sign players when we knew about their character over anything else, and that stood us in good stead. When have we forgotten about that? When have we just completely gone, we don't care if someone's an ass and wants money and doesn't really want to play for Leicester, we'll sign them anyway? When has this crept into our football club? Because as far as I'm concerned, he never should have been signed because we knew he was like this. Brendan Rodgers would have signed
a striker, though, didn't we? That was the thing.
Yeah,
we needed a striker.
But Brendan would have signed this guy back in the day if he was any good, wouldn't he?
Yes. But he probably was the best of what was available and we could afford under FFP.
Maybe.
But at least let's put him on the pitch and see if he's as shit as Rude obviously thinks he is.
I think in some ways I'm a bit worried he's going to go out there, get a couple of goals. He might have to, then eat shit and like the taste of it, Chris, because that's the way it goes sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Brendan got a bit like that with Soyuncu at the end because we actually needed him back in the bloody team. And we needed him playing well.
John Terry, who wasn't a bad defender himself, came in and said, what the fuck's he not playing for?
Exactly. It was almost like a punishment that got way out of hand, wasn't it? It was almost like he should have been told off for a couple of weeks and then gone back in the team. And 4 months later, we were relegated.
Yeah. No, sometimes these managers, I think they've got such a high opinion of themselves. They think that and it's all right being, well, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to stick to my ideas because that's what. And I get that. I get as a manager, you've got a plan. You can't keep changing. But a good manager, whatever business it's in, and I have had to look at and I've been manager in my times of teams, and I've had to look, and there's been somebody that I'm not particularly keen on, because we're just different people. But think, he can do a job.
Exactly. It's not personal.
If I give him that to do, he can do a job. I don't have to get on with him. I don't have to sleep with him or her, whoever it is. And they've just got to do a job for me. But it seems that we only employ managers that are too stubborn to accept that. Looks like it's going to go to penalties between Forest and Ipswich Town.
It's interesting you mentioned that. Yeah, sorry, Ronald. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, was Edward signed to walk Vestergaard's dog? The thing is, though, Tony, only 2 successful. No, so we don't know whether they were successful passes or not. The thing is, it's 2 passes. Has he got anybody to pass to?
I remember him running into trouble a lot as well, Chris. He was running into people trying, wasn't he? But losing the ball a lot, bless him. Yeah.
Yeah, forget the strikers, defend to get a point. I don't know. It just said passes. It didn't say successful or not, Tony. Ronald said earlier those stats are disgusting. Yes, they so are. Right, well, it doesn't make very good reading, but here we go. The bottom of the table. I'm not a bottom man, I must admit. Don't know if you are, young man.
Having to get used to it, Chris. Having to get used to it with life at the moment and this.
I'm more of a two up front man myself. But look, if we've got to look at the bottom, let's look at the bottom. I mean, this is what the BBC said was the relegation battle. Everton and West Ham are not in that battle. I'm sorry. No, Wolves, and I think we've got to say thank you, Mr. Referee, for sending Kuna off.
Yes, very similar to Kudus earlier this season with West Ham. Remember when I first started the review show with you, Chris, and he got sent off for 4 games, and I said they'll regret that, and they ended up right down the bottom and ended up sacking the manager, didn't they? Yes. Similar with Wolves and Cunha. I mean, it's not going to be enough for us, and like the fact we're still reaching for lower vibrational wins by other clubs getting problems shows you just how much of a mess we are.
No, that's it exactly. How long do we have to rely on Southampton? I mean, it would be embarrassing, and that would be the final nail in the coffin, I think, of Rude, if Southampton actually started to get enough points to actually overtake Leicester, and we actually go down bottom. But Ipswich, and look, under Rude as well, we used to say, well, the goal difference might be worth a point. Not anymore, it's not.
No, that slipped away very quickly, didn't it, mate? As soon as we stopped scoring goals, and we started shipping more goals, it's remarkable how it's gone.
Yeah. Pashant says here, I think we need to go down again and maybe into League One. At least we are in a safe space to reset. I mean, look, we were very lucky when we went down to League One that we got Nigel Pearson in. You know, we can go. We came straight back up. Leeds were down there for 4 or 5 years in League One. No, I wouldn't. I would totally disagree with that, Prashant.
Who was the manager who got us relegated to League One, Chris? Do you remember who was in charge of Southampton in the Championship?
Oh yes, yeah. No, he was. It was
Nigel Pearson. Yeah. So I'm glad he came back to rescue us after he was the reason we got blooming relegated.
Armchair says, yeah, exactly. I see no difference between Cooper and RVM, both clueless. I don't know. And Cooper, look, we wanted Cooper gone, but looking back, would he have kept us up? He may just have done. And look, I'm going to ask you this, Tom, because that's the idea of the show. Are we not where we expected to be? We knew it was going to be hard.
Difficult question to answer, Chris. I think we all expected to at least be in a fight. I don't think there's any Leicester fan who felt we were going to be in 12th place this season. I think we all came into this going, we'd snap your hand off for 17th. Because I think we all felt, irrelevant of how well we did last year, because it was kind of a false result. And I'm not trying to take away from our success, but it was more than what we probably deserved. to be realistic about it. I think tactics played a big part in it, and that shows you why, if we had any sort of tactical nuance now, we might be in a slightly better spot. So no, I think there should be a disappointment, Chris, because I think we were well within our rights to feel we should have competed at least for 17th. I think that is the minimum requirement. And also, if you think, like you say, the 2 years before when we were in the Premier League, we kind of dropped down from being a top half team into relegation. So surely there should be some crossover there, but it hasn't worked out that way, has it?
And do you? I mean, I said the other day, I wish in a way we'd actually got a points deduction, because at least then we could blame it on that rather than everything else at the club.
Yeah. That's true, mate. It's funny because I remember you saying that was the moment of the year for Leicester City, and you were 100% right. How quickly have we forgotten about it now?
Yeah,
it proved to be completely redundant in the end. So it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. Let's go on to this, because as everybody knows, that we ask Alan, bless him. Alan. Now, Alan is in his 70s. Alan Bennett. He goes to every home and every away match that he's able to. He's got a season ticket. I think he's only missed one match this season, and that was away, and that was because of illness. And what he does is every week, having been at the match, he sends me, and we chat about it at the end of the watch along, but the official performance and man of the match is always down to what Alan says. So it doesn't matter what the rest of us say, we all say who we think, but the official one for the site is from Alan. His team performance on that game, 0. Big, fat, juicy 0.
It's finally got there.
Yeah, it looks like it's gone to penalties. There might be a little bit of stoppage time left, but it has gone to penalties. So now that says I've never known Alan, and I've only ever overruled him once, I think, because I thought he was too generous. And I think he was just trying to be kind. I've never known him give a 0 before. That's how bad this is.
And we've worked our way down to it, Chris, haven't we? They've been slowly dropping week on week, and that's it's not as if they've been like a 5 or a 4 and then a 5 and then a 4. It has been 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Yeah.
And here we
Thunderbirds
are.
I'll go. Let's not get back on the Thunderbirds again.
We could have our own international rescue between us, mate. Brad could be Thunderbird 1. I'm pretty sure Jim will be number 5. And then we got... I think Wayne said he was Thunderbird 4 when I was talking to him. So we got our own international rescue here.
We should... Oh, no, you're just giving me ideas for pictures.
Do the graphics, mate. Do it. I'm number 2.
Number 2.
Hates Lady Penelope, and we've got Craig's brains.
Yeah, this is true.
Sorry, guys, you're in trouble now because of me. My apologies.
Don't nobody have a go at me. Blame him. Man of the match. You can probably guess where this is going, folks, because we said to Alan, again, he not only gives me a team performance, he doesn't give an individual, he just gives the whole team, and then he picks a man of the match. And for the past few weeks, I've got to say, it's been El Canoes most matches, but this time he actually went for no one.
Agreed. We all agreed with that, didn't we?
Yeah. We just could not. They were that bad. We could not give it to anybody, which is why you've got a shadow picture there and not one of the players. No one was good enough. It was as simple as that, and we all agreed on that on the watch along, didn't we? And what we normally do at this time, is go through the players and rate the players. I don't think we need to, because I think we agreed, didn't we?
I can show you my ratings. I wrote them down, mate. Here they are. There's a blank bit of paper there. It's actually sorry, the light's actually reflecting, so I've written on the back. It was meant to be a joke about a blank piece of paper that failed miserably because of science. My apologies.
Don't worry.
No, 0 across the board, mate.
0 across the board. Yeah, there was just nobody there that we could even give a 1 for turning up to. That's how bad things were.
Bag of wet farts.
For all of them.
Bag of wet farts, a lot of them, mate.
Exactly. And the manager. But what can we say about the manager? -10.
Well, I don't even want to speak about him, mate. I feel like I spoke about him too much. I just want him, mate, to make me eat my own words now. I want him to drop his ego. It's funny, you mentioned ego earlier, right? And that's a
Mm.
very big part of this. I mean, ego is there in humankind to protect you from things that are threats, but you shouldn't let it rule you. And there's times you've got to face your ego and put it to one side because there's bigger things. And he's getting in his own way now, which is the frustrating thing, isn't it? Just let it go, Rude. Be a bit more open about this. I hope these days off they've all had, mate, they've gone and had a good think about it. So if they come back any worse, I'm going to lose my mind.
Well, I'm not going to say could it be any worse because we've said that so many times.
You seen the Mick McCarthy meme? It can.
Yeah, you've seen the TikToks.
Yeah, the Mick McCarthy one at the press conference. We had to play
Yeah.
that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, that is so true. Right. We're going to be back and we're going to be having a look at the rest of the games very, very quickly. And we'll do that straight after this.
Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV.
For all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
We could do with a few of them playing now, couldn't we?
Oh, I want tags in that team, mate. Oh, I feel that passion just from that little car video he did for us, bless him.
Yes, yeah. Love them all. Thanks to them for doing that.
Yeah,
Right,
great.
here we go. Let's very, very quickly run through these. Look, West Ham 2, Leicester 0 we know about. Southampton keep making us look good.
They do, bless them, don't they? I feel like we used to all hang out together, us fans and Southampton fans, and lick our wounds together because we're both in the same boat, as equally awful as the other one.
Do you know what? Last season, not last season, the season before, when we both got relegated, I did message my mate from Southampton who does match day vlogs, Jack, and I did say to him, I said, you know, next season it's going to be like, you know, when you change schools and you see somebody from your old school and you think, oh, I've got a friend here. It'll be like that.
I've got a former housemate of mine was a Southampton fan, and we always seem to go through it at the same time, mate.
Yes, yeah, and it's going to be the same again this time, I think. Wolves 1, Fulham 2. Wolves showing the fight that we don't, as indeed did Ipswich, finally losing out 3-2 to Man United. But if either of those two games had, gone slightly differently, we would be even further up to our necks in the doo-doo, wouldn't we?
Oh, I think we'd probably be relegated by the end of March if they got on the other way, Chris. We might get lucky with an extra week here. But it's interesting. I think I was the curse of the commentator for the Fulham one because I was calling them out last week and say I thought they were starting to slip a bit. And now we come in, they've done that, and they've got an FA Cup win under their belt, haven't they? So fair play to them, a good result for them. And also, like you say, it is helpful. But realistically, mate, I can't sit here and pretend it's going to change our outcome, is it?
No, we shouldn't have to rely on other teams.
No.
Everton, look, David Moyes, what a fantastic job he's doing.
Yeah, credit.
1-1. They've not lost under him. Just shows get the right manager. And I'm not saying Moyes would have come to us. He would not. He did not want a relegation battle, but it was Everton. It was one of his clubs. He's got that special bond there.
Positive energy, Chris. Positive energy. And they come in, mate, and you look at them next year and go, they've got a brand new stadium, I reckon already. They just seem on fire. But anyway. Could do.
Brighton 2, Bournemouth 1. That was a bit of a surprise, but well, was it? Was it? Because, like you say, Brighton, they had a bit of a dip, but they are coming back, aren't they?
Yeah, I think for Bournemouth now have got that challenge of it's hard to remain focused when you've had so much positive attention sometimes, Chris, isn't it? I think Forest were getting a bit like this. Forest was kind of so far ahead of fourth place that it's easy to take your eye off the ball a bit. And I think these are the sort of games when you're Bournemouth, you just need a little bit of realignment. But if I was a Bournemouth now, mate, the league actually where you finish now is one or two places relevant. They're still in the FA Cup. That's up for grabs now, isn't it?
Indeed. This was a surprise, I think, of the weekend. Palace 4, Aston Villa 1.
Yeah, a massive surprise that, mate, because I thought Villa had really kind of found their footing again, and then they got completely poleaxed by Crystal Palace. So if they are going to do this, they'll do it at home. But quietly getting better somehow, which is remarkable to them. They had a good transfer window as well, signing players from the Championship and things like this. And they're very good, mate, at what they do, Palace. Underrated, actually. Credit to them.
Stuck with the manager famously, of course.
Yes, because I was questioning it, but I did say at the time that I felt it was because they had these injuries and he might be right when they got back. And lo and behold, there is no problems there. You can't accuse them of a toxic culture. They just got on with it, mate.
No. Castagna played well last night. Another player we have lost. He wanted to go when we got relegated. We didn't lose him. He wanted to go. If a player wants to go, there's no point in trying to do it. Yeah, it's penalties between
Ipswich and Forest.
Those two teams, indeed. So it's Nottingham Forest 1, Ipswich 0. It looks like Forest went first. Chris Wood. Of course, who else? Man City, I'm not going to say they're back, but they managed to scrape a win against to a point back in form. Spurs, Arsenal are throwing it away, aren't they?
Yeah, they're really lacking that striker, Chris, aren't they? It's such a shame because you think about that, and we'd have a much more interesting Premier League title race if say, Gabriel Jesus was fit and firing, but he's not been, has he, for years now. So they desperately need in the summer to do something about that. But yeah, so it's a shame by that. And of course, then Liverpool went on and beat Newcastle as well. You know, I mean, Liverpool. I mean, controversially, I don't think there's going to be many easier Premier League title wins in this one. This one seems to have been so swimmingly for them, just bumping along, just getting 3 points in the point here, and just they're making it easy work, aren't they? So, but it is like you say, a lot of it down to other clubs not being able to be quite as good.
They're to lose, Liverpool.
Oh yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. I mean, they could draw now to the end of the season. They'd probably still pick it up because you look at the teams behind them and they're too inconsistent on their own merit, let alone trying to catch them.
Yeah, no, you're quite right. 1-1 at the moment in the penalties. 2-1 to Forest now.
Ipswich are the sort of club they could win the FA Cup and get relegated, aren't they? They just got that vibe about them. They're that sort of team. And of course, Man City, the only ones really left in the FA Cup now. And I wonder if, mate, there's one more cock up in their season yet.
Could well be. Talking of cock ups, there's the table in full. Liverpool top, Arsenal still second, Forest, fair play to them, third, City fourth, Newcastle, Bournemouth down to sixth, but I say down to sixth, we'd kill for that, wouldn't we? Chelsea fifth. Rumours, of course, if we do manage to beat them, is this the sacking for Enzo? I don't think so, but you never know. Villa eighth, Brighton I think would have been higher, as would Fulham and Brentford if neither of them had actually taken a bit of a dip, which they did in the season. They're back. They are back from outer space. The awards, and we'll do the awards when we've just had a few words from our sponsor.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel now and make sure you never miss another upload. Leave a like now. Ring the bell and never miss another video.
You were getting your hands on your awards. You were indeed.
I was.
Yet and again, another week and another change when it comes to the awards. It's 2-2, by the way, in penalties. Le Ballon à Carlette Depuis. Forgive any French watchers, excuse me for murdering that. I had to look twice at the éclat bit, but I thought it said something else. But it's basically the Burst Balloon Awards. We couldn't afford, and it was copyrighted to call it the Balloon d'Or, so we had to go with the Burst Balloon. We're bringing it back into this because the show that we moved it over to, which was the Talking Balls, we're putting that on hold till the summer. So we've brought it back into this show, and it's basically well, as you can see there, too good, too bad. It's not up for grabs. We'll pick one each, a good and a bad, and we'll see whether we actually ever agree. So we're going to start off with the superhero you never knew you needed award. I'll let you go first with this one, sir.
Right. So I've only got one thought on this one, Chris, and I think the superhero See, I didn't think we are going to word it in this way, so I've got to try and work out how I'm going to put this across now and fit that statement.
Well, no, it's the good award. It doesn't. You don't have to fit it into that. It's like I say, there's a good award and a bad award. This is the good award
and a bad award. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I found it difficult this week because I kind of feel like I was retracing a lot of steps. So my good award, actually, I gave as a generalisation towards not the Premier League, but to the FA Cup. And my good award is there's only Man City left in the FA Cup. So I think that is a great award to give out because I think that's great for the English game, mate. Because we talked about how the top six and the money side of it has really affected the game. But actually, if you look at the European places and all the rest of it, there is a bit of competition there. And I think the same goes with the FA Cup. So I'm going to give the good award to the fact that Man City are the only big 6 team left in the FA Cup this year.
So basically, the FA Cup is you are giving it to.
Yeah, because I think it surprised us a little bit with the Plymouth result the other week. And then obviously we come to this. And the teams that are left now, you're sat there watching a penalty shootout between Ipswich and Forest. I'm thinking there's a real chance that it could be a surprise winner, which would be really lovely for the game, especially at the time we're talking about money so much.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Well, you might be surprised to know that I haven't agreed with you.
I'm not surprised, no problem.
My superhero you never knew you needed award goes to Thomas Souček, West Ham player. Yeah. He normally celebrates scoring a goal with a helicopter celebration, and he refused to do that celebration for Kumvi Chai and what had happened. And I think that says I respect him for doing that. And I put a tweet out and a Facebook post out about it. Total and utter respect to him. And I have more respect for him than any player wearing blue on that night. And Thomas Souček, for me, gets my superhero award.
And I'm going to have to agree with you because that has slipped my mind slightly, mate. But also, the only bad thing with that is the fact he'd already thought about it meant he was guaranteed he was going to bloody score, which is the only downside to it. But no, I agree with you. Fair play to him. You know, if he wants to come and play for Leicester, we could do with a midfielder like that now. Someone with a bit of hustle to him.
We so could. But I just think it's great because I wouldn't have blamed him if he had done it in the spur of the moment. I wouldn't have held that against him. It's not like fans that are doing it and they're doing it for a reason. But 100% respect for him for doing that one. So I get that then. I win that one this week.
I think we'll be agreeing on the second one.
If karma doesn't hit you, I gladly will award. Shall I go first with this one?
Yeah, you go first, mate.
I was torn here, I have to say, because the obvious one to go for would be sorry, I'm just keeping half an eye on nobody's missed a penalty yet. Ipswich have just missed one, having said that.
Oh, what a shame. I'd prefer Ipswich to go through than Forest because it'll give Forest more gumption, won't it, to be big and full of themselves.
Well, if Ipswich go through, it would have kept them busy.
Exactly.
The obvious one I could have gone for here was obviously Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Yeah, very obvious. Me too.
And the rest of the team. But I think we've given it to him before, haven't we?
I think we have, mate. Yeah.
I am going to give it to... who did Fulham play at the weekend? Who did they beat?
Well, in the FA Cup, Manchester United. Or are you talking about in the league?
Man United. Quite right. If I'd read down the rest of the story, I would have noticed it. Fulham have condemned the abhorrent, racist, and homophobic online abuse directed at defender Calvin Bassey following Saturday's FA Cup penalty shootout win at Manchester United. Nigeria defender Bassey, who scored the opening goal at Old Trafford, shared some examples of the unsavoury abuse he had received on social media. I don't get it because Manchester United have got black players. Forrester through, by the way.
Yeah, okay.
They've got black players playing for them. They've got a lot of black players playing for them.
Yeah.
How do you boo an opposition? I mean, how does that make your own black players feel?
I think, Chris, a lot of it is sheer stupidity in the moment. I think a lot of these people do it in the heat of the moment, having a bit of a silly one, maybe one too many beers, a bit too of a macho environment, and before you know it, they say something daft, they make a daft gesture, and they get themselves into stupid water nowadays. Because the problem is, ladies and gentlemen, we're sat here on camera. If you go out in public in a football stadium, everyone's got a camera phone nowadays.
Yeah.
If you're so, I would say to people that, I think a lot of it is that. I think a lot of it is stupid. I'd prefer to say it's stupid and ignorant rather than intentionally meant to be. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I think some people get a little bit carried away in the heat of the moment and do silly things. And I don't think they're actually like that, Chris. But I do agree with you. It's unacceptable.
If you don't like the opposing player, boo them. I put boo there, but boo them. You don't have to get racist, homophobic, sexist, or whatever you're doing. You don't have to, because the chances are that, well, Man United, I mean, I don't get it. Like you say, I just think sometimes I think these people are the missing link. I really do.
I do, mate. The only thing I would say to that is, I was going to say, I think that's a great nomination. The one I was going to go for was slightly different, but in a similar ballpark. I was going for a player who did something very stupid. And who remembers what the Millwall goalkeeper did at the weekend?
Oh, God, yes.
And I mean, I'm a big ice hockey fan, as you know.
What a good shout, mate. What a good I wasn't watching it, and I only saw who was the manager came out afterwards, didn't he? The Palace chairman.
Yeah, Palace chairman. Or ex-chairman,
what's he talking about? And then I watched it. Did he get sent off, the goalie?
Straight red after 8 minutes, and rightly so. My point is, though, Chris, it's not even the challenge for me, because if you do sometimes kick a ball high in the air and you do something, put your foot high, it was how he went through it. He literally, you could tell he went in for a drop kick to make a mark on the bloke. And I've been a footballer, I've been a goalkeeper. Hey, cheers, Bashan. And I'm not trying to be proud about this, but there's times I've laid it on someone and I know the difference. And he was intentionally laying it on him, and he completely took the bloke's head off and could have killed him. So I think it's horrific, mate. Horrific.
Do you remember? Was it Schumacher for Germany in the World Cup? Came out. Yes. He got away with it, I think, but I'm not. I could be wrong.
Was it Schmelzer? I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was against. Not Shoot. Did I say Schumacher?
Yeah, I think you meant what's he called? Yeah, but I knew what you meant. You were talking. Yeah.
Yeah, the German keeper. It's not Schumacher, obviously. But yeah, that was as bad.
Punch.
No,
yeah,
I've got to say, mate, equal it up 1-1. That's a great shout. I'd forgotten about that.
Well, I think the problem with it is, mate, is that it's all about intent. I think you can do these things accidentally, but I would argue anyone go back and watch it and tell me he did not know he was leaving it on when he was doing it. And that's what gets me. I hope he went and saw him in hospital and apologised, because if I'd done it in the heat of the moment, I'd be very embarrassed of myself.
Totally, 100% agree with you. There you go then. Well, we've come out of that 1-1, haven't we, really?
We're all losers when it comes to the racism at Manchester United, though, mate. So I'd definitely say I'd like to end on the note of, guys, please don't be daft and stupid, for goodness sake, whoever you support. Yeah.
It's like you said, we all do get wound up in the heat of the moment, but it's a pretty football match at the end of the day, And if Leicester get relegated, we'll still wake up the next morning and have our life and our family and our friends. So there's just have a bit of banter. That's what it should be about. Have banter. That goes beyond banter. But yes, I hope also karma does come along and get that goalkeeper, because he certainly did know what he was doing. Tom, thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure, Chris. Thank you, mate.
We will be back on Sunday with the match.
Yes, Sunday this week. It's all over the place, isn't it? Thursday, Sunday, Monday. Goodness me, it's like being in Europa League again, mate, if only.
It is. But the Champions League and the Europa League are both back this week, which is why we're playing on Sunday, because Chelsea are in the conference, whatever it is that they're in. We'll be back for the watch along on Sunday. Can't say I'm looking forward to it, but appreciate your time.
Mate. It's Leicester, mate. Who knows? Someone else might walk a dog on a training pitch this week and Rude will get the sack over it. You know what Leicester's like. It's drama around every corner.
I wish they'd do one of those, fly on the wall documentaries that they've done at other clubs.
Oh, mate, I wouldn't want to see it now because I think I'd just find it so sad, honestly. Oh,
I know. I will see you on Sunday, mate. Thanks very much. Take care.
cheers. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Cheers, guys.
Yeah. Thanks to everybody for watching. Remember to like the video, share it, and of course, subscribe. And if you've been listening via your favorite podcast platform, thank you very much. Take care.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.